Hello, aspirants. I am Akriti Kanchi, your mentor from Prep IS, and I am trying to help you read newspaper in UPSC relevant manner. Today is 28th April, and I have covered the must-read articles with some specific focus on prelims, mains, and the facts that can be used in prelims and the things that can be used in essay. That kind of content we try to catch in our newspaper analysis, and we cover it from the front page till the last page, whatever is useful for us. Okay, and today 2024 attempts prelims marks and mains marks have also come. Right, a lot of my students have shared with me, and so they are bucking up this time to make sure that nothing wrong happens in this year prelims. Okay, so newspaper reading, newspaper is very important part of that. So let's start with today's newspaper without wasting time. Okay, there's nothing in front page. Okay, now this is just from a prelims point of view that you should know what is there. Sport of the hour, Bihar's youth are taking the Sepak Takraw ball and running with it. So Sepak Takraw is name of a sport, a proper sport, right? So this comes as a prelims fact. Okay, a knowledge you should basic have. Bihar hosted the International Sepak Takraw Federation World Cup in Patna. Okay, so what is Sepak Takraw? How do players play there? They play with a meshed ball. Okay, and they use their hand only once to release the ball, and then they only have to use their head, knees, chest, feet, and thighs are used to propel it. This involves agility and acrobatics. Okay, so the best part of Sepak Takraw is it doesn't require much equipment. Bihar is now placed second at the national level. Okay, the sport was introduced in Bihar in 1999. Okay, so Sepak Takraw is a sport. Okay, how it is played, you should just know basically. Let's move to the next article. Okay, again, just a passing article, but we should not miss them also. Finding the rhythm of a painter's incredible life, an album sheds light on Raja Ravi Verma's. He's a modern painter, modern Indian histories painter. Okay, this comes under GS paper 1, Art and Culture. So, celebrating the life and legacy of legendary artist Raja Ravi Verma, a musical tribute is being paid. A musical tribute is being paid for him at his, that Travancore, where he belonged to, the Travancore kingdom, where he belonged to. He was a royal. Okay, so you should, as a UPSC aspirant, you should know the paintings, his name of his paintings. So the Parsi lady was his last painting. So now Parsi lady is name of one of the Raja Ravi Verma's painting. It was his last painting. Okay, he died while making this painting. Other name of his paintings are Portrait of Triketa Thrunar Uma Amma Thampurati. So remember the Parsi lady and this other long name of the painting. Let's move to the next article. Editorial about AI. Okay, clean AI. So AI has a lot of benefits that it can bring, but it has a lot of challenges also. One is it is very high energy intensive sector. It requires a lot of electricity. Okay, so that's why it is talking about clean AI. So the electricity which is being used for AI has to, since it is using a huge amount of electricity, we have to make sure that it's coming from cleaner sources because of environmental issues. So GS paper 3, awareness in the field of AI and its challenges. So International Monetary Fund's report says the economic gains of artificial intelligence applications outweighs the environmental costs of the increased energy demand that AI data centers will require is reassuring. So he says that gains of AI will be far more than the problems it will bring. So what are the issues? So what are the main reasons that we have to take care of? That the energy is resourced by renewable energy. Okay, so the first is the sheer volume of electricity that AI is set to consume. Okay, the IMF report says that in USA, which is the largest home for AI expansion could increase electricity prices by up to 9%. Okay, putting price pressures from other sources also. So renewable energy will play a major role in cushioning against a manifold rise in the prices of energy. The other thing is that data centers are on huge area, huge acres. Okay, so that kind of huge area can be used as a captive renewable infrastructure. So the infrastructure of data centers and renewable energy can be complementary to each other. Okay, so hundreds of acres that data centers occupy are ripe for complementing equipment with solar cells, nuclear energy, small modular reactors at emerging data centers can also provide other kind of energy. One other issue which comes with AI is the large scale mining of minerals and water use. That is also one of the issue, and it produces effluents in the manufacturing of the electronic supply chain. So India has to take care of all this. India's net zero target for 2070 will require taking care of these areas, okay? Scaling down from conventional sources to renewable sources. Let's move to the next article. This article is more important from essay point of view, the political or globalization point of view, the political trilemma, not dilemma, but trilemma, and the crisis in the West, okay? If globalization related essay is coming, or protectionism related or trade war related, it can be used. This is one of the economist theory of economist Danny Roderick. Okay, so he has given this political trilemma. According to him, this globalization, nation state sovereignty, and popular democracy, all these three cannot exist together. One of them will fade. Okay, that is what this Roderick's paper is about. Okay, so if a country has embraced democracy and globalization, okay, so sovereignty will be compromised. The nation states power and sovereignty will be, what is sovereignty? That is the nation's right to decide its own things. Okay, so the great example they have given is European Union, where they tried to globalize, and they were also democratic countries, but that led to a lot. So this sovereignty was reduced, but later on a lot of people were dissatisfied also, which has led to fueled national movements and far right sentiments, in several countries of Europe. Okay, so these kind of issues are there. And then when the country are pursuing globalization and national sovereignty, democracy takes a setback. Okay, so it restricts the ability of mass politics. Okay, so another example, which is India, is Bretton Woods compromise, where countries choose to preserve democracy and sovereignty, like India. Okay, and we limit globalization as per our needs. So this is the example of India, right? And we are seeing that in US, UK, and Europe, they are dissatisfied with the benefits globalization has given. There are winners and losers, and these grievances of losers is being tapped upon by the right leaders, far right leaders like Trump, Geert Wilders, and Viktor Orban, and such kind of protectionist policies are happening in this big globalized countries. Okay, let's move to the next article. This philosophy, this theory you can use in your essay or globalization answer. The real Indian arbitrator needs to stand up. Okay, arbitration is very important from commercial and company, since if you want to grow in company culture, commercialization, and trade culture, there will be some disputes. Okay, so who will decide on those disputes, and how will those disputes be decided should be very systematic and institutional in nature. Okay, so that is the issue India faces. This comes under GS paper to quasi-judicial bodies. It can also come one of the challenges in economy of India. If you are trying to build the economy of India, what are the challenges that we face? So India's economic rise is happening. An increase in domestic and cross-border commerce has made the occurrence of commercial disputes inevitable. So Indian court litigation machinery, that is our court system or justice system, is overburdened and not equipped to efficiently dispose this kind of disputes which are time sensitive. The commercial disputes where a lot of industrialists have put their money cannot go for long years, right? They will have a lot of losses. They will not come to India only. The rich people and the people who want to invest, they will not come to India if such long procedures are happening in the legal processes. So these are certain sensitive issues. So what is the advice of this editor? He was also quoted one of the issue by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, who questioned in March 2024 the ex-Chief Justice of India, that why Indian arbitrators are not appointed in international disputes having no domestic element, because Indian arbitrators have not matched the level of international arbitration. And how will we do that? So two suggestions here. First, the pool of Indian arbitrators must be diversified to include candidates specializing in arbitration and not just retired judiciary. Okay, it should come from a different various fields, a larger pool. Okay, and the second is they must undergo a rigorous training and accreditation process, and they must have specialized certificate courses and workshops, no matter which background they are coming from. So these kind of solution can be written in arbitration related answers. Let's move to the next article. There's another article on AI today, India's AI compute conundrum. So this comes under GS paper 3, India's economy and role of AI in that. So Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has announced the launch of a continuous empanelment process for AI compute providers who will provide in India, right, which allows firms to apply on an ongoing basis to supply AI compute and related services. Okay, so this happens on a bidding process, okay, where empaneled vendors must match the lowest bid price for the AI compute and services. Indian AI mission will subsidize up to 40% of the compute cost for eligible users. They are doing this to promote AI in India. Okay, addressing priority use cases such as healthcare and education. So government will subsidize such kind of AI providers and service providers. Okay, but the issue here, there are certain benefits that government will promote private companies. The continuous empanel process could prevent cartelization of bigger providers, but this kind of lower bidding process can lead to lesser margins for those companies and smaller companies, and they'll not be able to invest in their research and development. Okay, and there are other obstacles also to get the qualification criteria for the subsidy evaluation process. First is startup applying for compute needs to be registered with Startup India or Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. They need to demonstrate experience in AI machine learning and should have annual revenue of 50 lakh to 200 lakhs. And the monitoring and evaluation then will be done by the team. Okay, so these are certain hurdles that will not allow a lot of people to come into it. Okay, so it is saying that our editors are saying that scaling up and such kind of level, India should make sure that we are using the private powers properly. So government intervention should leave the market as agile as possible to adapt to these shifts. Okay, allowing private players to function freely will enable the market to keep pace with future developments and also provide a pathway for the transition after the India AI mission sunset. So the editor is saying that there should be a natural flow of things, like Adam Smith was suggesting, like there should not be any control or subsidization by the government. Let the process flow naturally, and the research and development will happen eventually, like it has happened in the DeepSeek process of China. Okay, and India's investment is much lower than what US companies are doing. Meta alone is investing $10 billion in data center, and India's current compute capacity is only 19,000 GPUs, which is very pale in compared to bigger countries. Okay, let's move to the next article. Now, this article is more important from prelims point of view. The Trump turmoil in bond markets. Okay, this comes from GS3 Economy, bond returns, and prelims fact. Okay, they should know what is bond. So right now there is an issue going on between President Donald Trump and the US Fed's president. Okay, so the chair of the Federal Reserve and Donald Trump, there is an issue going on. So regarding that, there is a discussion on bond. What is a bond? A bond is a financial instrument that promises a fixed amount called the face value to the holder at the end of a certain time period. Okay, so if I am if government is issuing bonds and a private party is buying it, so the private party will be called a bond holder, and if the face value is 100, so that private party might buy it in 90 rupees or 85 rupees, and when it will be returned to the government, the face value will be paid by the government. So it was that process. Okay, so that is what is bond. And unlike an equity instrument, which has unlimited gains or losses, and has no fixed time limit. Equity and mutual fund do not have any fixed time limit. Bonds are safer instrument than equity stocks. You should know this statement can come in your prelims. Okay, so bonds are considered safer instrument than equity, used by investors to hedge risks or as a safe store of value. They don't want to risk their entire amount. Okay, so the price at which bonds are bought and sold in the market is less than the face value. Okay, so the return to a bond holder from holding the bond to maturity is the end of the given time period and is called the yield. Okay, जो return मिलेगा वो yield होता है. ठीक है? A major threat to bond holder is inflation. Okay, so when inflation is there, central bank will increase the interest rate, and bank will give more interest rate. So people who are interested in the bond market can shift to the banks, and so things like that. So inflation is not great for bond holders. Okay, let's move to the next article. Google's expanding AI ambitions in India clash with US antitrust scrutiny. Okay, so these are certain issues with multinational company that you should know. Sometimes UPSC mains question come around it, and you should have a basic understanding how things are happening. So GS paper 3 economy issues. While Google is aggressively integrating generative AI into its advertising ecosystem in India, the advertising targeting is going amazing for Google in India. The company faces mounting pressure in the USA for its dominance in the online advertising sector as well in online search. Okay, so US is raising question about the balance between innovation and market power. Okay, so are they innovating or they are capturing the market, right? So Google says its tools are helping advertisers achieve tangible results through its platforms like YouTube. Okay, and it is becoming key to capturing consumer attention in one of the world's fastest growing digital markets. Okay, this issue will be ongoing and we'll discuss in future also. Let's move to the next article. So this is just small prelims fact. NIV shares H5N1 genome data with public database. What is NIV? It is Pune-based National Institute of Virology, which has shared the H5N1 genome sequence. H5N1 is avian influenza, bird flu, famously called. Okay, you should know this question can come. What is H5N1? That's swine flu, bird flu. You should know it is bird flu. Okay, and they are sharing this genome sequence with Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data, and this data deposited in Global Initiative on Sharing All Influenza Data was collected from a 2-year girl from Andhra Pradesh. Okay, let's move to the next article. There's an article on ISRO here. Okay, yeah, ISRO. ISRO's second short hot test of semi-cryogenic engine a success. This comes under GS paper 3, achievements of Indians in science and technology. ISRO has successfully conducted a short duration hot test of semi-cryogenic engine at its facility in the ISRO Propulsion Complex IPRC in Mahendragiri. Now, where is this Mahendragiri? You should know IPRC of ISRO is in Mahendragiri. This ignition test is the second milestone after the first successful hot test. Okay, this is important for its, meanwhile the launch campaign activities for NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar, which is called NISAR satellite on board the GSLV, have already commenced in Sriharikota. So a lot of activities are happening in ISRO. Let's move to the next article. Now this article again I have kept from, though it is a money advice for readers, not so much, not normally an important page for UPSC, but right now it has certain points which can be asked in prelims. Okay, so what is this REITs and InvITs? Okay, this comes under GS paper 3 economy, mobilization of resources, and also prelims fact. So what is REITs? It is real estate investment trusts. Okay, real estate investment trusts offer an opportunity to invest in real estate but without owning them physically. Okay, so if I as a retail investor can invest it there, but I'll just own a unit, I'll not have to maintain it. Okay, so real estate investment trust pool in money to purchase real estate. It may generate income in the form of rents or by way of capital gains on sale of properties. The profit which will be derived after adjusting various operational costs and paid to investors in the form of dividends. Okay, similarly there is infrastructure investment trust, like smaller, generally in infrastructure, in the India's bigger infrastructure, big companies, big banks used to invest, and normal people like us used to not invest, but this kind of trusts are enabling us to invest. It is financial instrument which retail investors can invest in the country's infrastructure projects, in which earlier only institutional players could invest. Okay, and we can enjoy, retail investors can enjoy steady income streams in the form of dividends, and as countries economy will grow, their capital would appreciate in the long run, and investors become part owners of infrastructure projects in proportions of the unit that they bought. It can be smaller units, but still, and this all is regulated by Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI. You should know this. Okay, all this is managed by that. Let's move to the next article. In Science page directly, RNA-based antiviral offers strong defense against deadly agrivirus. So agriculture is badly hampered by all the plant virus, bacteria and fungi. But still for bacteria and fungi, they have certain solutions, but for virus, they don't have much solution. This comes under GS paper 3, awareness in the field of biotechnology. So according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, plant pests and diseases destroy nearly 40% of the world's annual crop. Okay, in India, CMV is cucumber mosaic virus. So CMV, if question comes, it's one of the plant virus. is responsible for 25-30% yield losses in banana plantations, in pumpkins, cucumbers, melons. Infection rates soar up to 70%. Okay, so affected plants develop a mosaic, discoloration, stunted growth, and commercially unviable fruits. Huge loss for farmers. Okay, and we want to double farmers' income. Okay, so how to deal with this viral infections? So scientists have started tapping the power of. So we have a good news. Scientists are tapping the power of RNA-based technology to help plant defend themselves better, just the way our immune system fights off viruses. Okay, so they are finding way to see how to fight these viruses. Okay, they are introducing double-stranded RNA. Okay, and they are using the small interfering RNAs, all this host-induced gene silencing and spray-induced gene silencing. Okay, so that much is sufficient for this article. While the study focused on CMV, the principles of this dsRNA technology can be applied to combat other major plant viruses such as tomato yellow leaf curl virus, the potato virus. Okay, so to make the treatment possible for real world use, they are currently developing spray based solution and preparing for field trials to test their effectiveness in natural conditions. Last article of the day, more important from prelims point of view, something very uh, curious and inquisitive kind of thing, the bone collector caterpillar. This is one type of caterpillar only found in Hawaiian Islands of America. Prelims fact, it is a carnivorous caterpillar that wears the remains of its prey, has been dubbed the bone collector. So whatever it eats, the remains of that prey, it leaves on its own body. Okay, so it finds in a Hawaiian island, it creeps along spider webs, feeding on trapped insects and decorating its silk case. Caterpillar leads to silk. Okay, the silk is made from caterpillar. Its silk case with their body parts. Scientists think the case might act as camouflage. Okay, it can save themselves from other predators. Okay, so predatory caterpillars are extremely rare, and the bone collectors found in Hawaii will even eat each other. The bone collectors' origin date back at least 6 million years. So this bone collector is older than the Hawaiian island itself. Okay, so that's it for 28th April.